watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go.
Hello, everybody. This is Juan Lee back again with Clear Journeys, It's Life. Oliver Marcel and myself back again. It's been a minute, but we're back together. Look, back together again.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, listen, man. My wife is the king of all things old songs, so I know she knows all the words to that song. But yeah, man, great to be back. Great to be back. It's life, and as such, in the time that has passed, life has done what life does, and so this is going to be a great conversation. I believe, at least for me, I'm selfishly going to really latch on in this conversation because this is going to be a great one. So glad to be back. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Hey, life is what life does, and it's continually doing it. All we can do is hold on and enjoy the ride. The journey is where we have all of our experiences at. And so, hey, it's just, one experience after another, and hopefully we're able to navigate them well. Yeah. So for us to be here in this moment together implies that we've navigated some experiences.
There you go.
Well enough to be here together again. So that's what it's all about.
I love it.
For those that are first time guests or visiting to our podcast here, my name is Juan Lee. That's Oliver Marcel. I am the founder of Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking to answer questions to life challenges. We are here to give you a love mindset, which comes from a book that I wrote that is the foundation of Clear Journey, and it's called Love Made Simple, a Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And so that is where you can pick that book up. And if you'd like to support us by picking up a copy of it, we really would appreciate it. You can get it on Audible or you can get a hardback. It's on Amazon. So we would really appreciate that. We really talk about three particular areas, whereas it's the mindset is what really helps you navigate those areas. And those areas are finances, relationships, and health and wellness. And one of the things that we really like and we really think that is critically important for anyone navigating life is to understand your finances. And if you go over to Clear Journey and register or for our newsletter, you will see or get the opportunity to get our free Budgeting Made Easy, the guide to taking charge of your money. It is there for you to really grasp hold of what it means to be able to have financial security. It starts with your budget. It starts with being able to manage your money. And with the right mindset, that's what we want you to do, is to be able to manage your money successfully. And so by all means, go over, pick up that free copy, and be a part of the community. Tonight, we're going to be digging and talking about health and wellness. That's an area that we're talking about. And the love mindset that we're going to be, hopefully you're being able to navigate this, the attitude of discipline and sacrifice. It's going to be critical for us to be able to be healthy, to be conscious of what it takes to be healthy and to be well in our bodies. And no matter what stage of life you're in, whether you're a teenager, young adult, or senior, the better educated and better informed you are as it relates to what we are putting into this vessel, this body, will allow us to be able to navigate. And as anybody knows, you're not going to always be privy to some of the challenges that we're going to be faced with, physical challenges. But all we can do is put the right things in our body so that we can be able to be prepared as best we can to be able to navigate them.
Yep.
And I think our guest tonight is going to be able to show us and share with us some of the things that we need to eat. The healthy eating made simple, so that we might be able to nourish our bodies and protect our bodies for the long term.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, Oliver, you said that this would be interesting for you.
It will be. I'm really looking forward to it because I've kind of sporadically been attempting to be more intentional as it relates to health and wellness. And so I have these stints, if you will. Like, I'm not eating crazy per se overall, but I have these moments in time where I really try to tighten up. And January, coming into January, was one of those moments. And so really looking at cutting sugar. I wasn't eating a lot of sugar to begin with, but really looking at cutting that like completely, if at all possible. And looking at some other things, looking at my water intake, looking at different things throughout the month of January in an effort to really create a lifestyle and not just sporadically do certain things at certain times of the year, but that this would just be the way I just live my life. And so I'm really looking forward to the tips that will come from this. I'm proud of myself because this is week, even with me getting the flu, this is week 33, I believe, of me having some sort of physical activity at least twice a week.
Wow! Congratulations.
Sometimes 4 days a week. So I'm really excited about. And I was worried when I had the flu because I was like, man, this is about to mess up my streak.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you kept on through that.
And my wife was a little skeptical because, of course, what happened with me with the hospital. So one day I'm like, I'm getting on this bike. I don't care how I feel. I'm just gonna have to monitor it and stay hydrated and just see what happens. And I got on, and I was able to get through it. And so I got on, I think a day or two after that as well. So I was able to keep I was really worried about that, bro. Like I was like, man, I've been doing so good. And now I'm sick. I'm about to kill this whole thing. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to this, man. It's gonna be a great conversation.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, because I think especially as we get into our age range, and I'm, like I said, a little bit down the road than you. I'm being very conscious of what I'm learning and trying to correct some wrongs.
Yeah.
And I think it's never too late, but now is the time. So let's just bring on our guest, who is going to be helping us to eat healthier and understand what it means to make it simple, with Yousef Elnahrawy.
We
look, I tried.
That wasn't bad though.
I tried. Come on up. Come on out, Yousef.
All right, let's bring him up to the stage right now.
Hey,
sir. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you both for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Hey, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it, even though we struggle with pronunciation. I tell everybody I have another show called the Philosophy of Love, and I'm doing a lot of the back end at the same time I'm doing the interview and stuff. And I tell them at the same time as the audience, who are watching it, that I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be authentic. I'm gonna let you know that it is what it is. And so I'm gonna make it real. Look, I'm gonna say the best I can, but don't take it personal. I'm just giving you my best. That's the best I got, and I'll work on it. Hopefully, we'll have an opportunity to meet and speak and talk again. and stay together. And as I spend time with you, I'll be more familiar with it. But I'm so pleased and happy that you're here with us tonight, that you might be able to share some nuggets with us. So while now that you're here, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'll just feed the first question as to why you became a dietitian. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, my name is Yousef, as you have introduced. So I'm currently a registered dietitian. I am also working on getting my master's in public health, but I've been a dietitian for about a year now. It's still relatively new for me, but nutrition as a whole is something that I've been interested in. I've been researching for probably now about 11 years or so. I got into it when I was a teenager. I was a little chubby as a kid, and I didn't really have any direction in my eating habits. So I kind of took it upon myself to just start researching ingredients. That's kind of how it started. Just looking at the labels of the food that I was getting and researching what each ingredient was and what it did, like the effect it had on you, and like what exactly it originated from. Because I didn't really know anything about nutrition or food ingredients or food science, anything like that. So I did a lot of research, and it started to become a little bit of a habit with all the food that I got. And it led to a lot of different changes in how I ate. So after doing that, subsequently, I really noticed a big difference in my, obviously my physical health. It was a lot easier for me to build muscle, maintain better weight. I got out of my chubby phase, and just like my physical abilities as well. Like I was playing basketball at the time, so my endurance was so much better upon making these little changes in my diet. And so yeah, this kind of just spiraled into a continuous interest. Continuing to high school, and then after high school into college, I studied it at NYU, and here we are. So it's just been something that I've always been interested in, and my main motivation for becoming a dietitian is basically utilizing the knowledge and the background I have to inform people so that they can make those little changes in their eating habits that allow them to improve their overall well-being in the same way that I was able to do so when I was younger. And I really think there's a lot of value in that because it can be a substantial change.
You've caused me to automatically put together your name and your story and ask you, how significant was it for you and where you're from? I know you're from, you raised in New York, but your parents are from Egypt, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
How was that influence, your parents' influence, cultural influence, affected your eating habits from growing up in New York?
Yeah, well, my parents had about as much knowledge about, nutrition and health as I did when I was younger, so none, basically. And they of course, we have a lot of cultural foods that we still eat to this day. Egyptian cuisine is very vast, and my mom would definitely make a lot. And there's a lot of balance in the cuisine. So I ate like that. I ate mostly Egyptian cuisine growing up, but moving to America for them means also assimilating here, right? So incorporating some of the American foods and snacks and cereals and all that stuff. So once they start to do that, that's something that I incorporated as well. So, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, for example, it was a big part of my childhood. We ate a lot of Wonder Bread. I drank soda pretty frequently when I was younger, and candy as well. So there's a pattern here. There was a lot of sugar. I was eating a lot of sugar, and I think that's something my parents were doing as well. And of course, I got that from them. My dad was actually, well, still is a diabetic. So that was most likely caused by coming here and just increasing his sugar intake substantially. Just, by eating the non-whole wheat, non-whole grains, and having a lot of sugar from the coffee, the soda, juice, all of these drinks, right? Which is not something he was doing consistently in Egypt. Not to say that they don't have those same foods, but I think the culture here, like the work culture here and the food culture as well, kind of harp on convenience, and convenience in food a lot of times means having things that are pre-made and are often filled with a lot more sugar and sodium than you would typically add in your own food. So all that being said, I was definitely having a lot of processed food growing up.
Okay. I mean, I guess we're going to get to it, but I mean, and it's right to the next question is like, why is it important? Why is healthy food important for our bodies?
Yeah, I mean, that is the quintessential question, right? Healthy food is necessary for us to function in the best possible way that we can. So an analogy that's very common, but that I like to always refer to, is thinking of your body as a car, right? So what you put into it is what you get out of it. If you put in a lot of processed stuff that doesn't have a lot of nutrient density in your body and has low quality ingredients, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that in your energy levels, in your mental state, your mental clarity, your cognitive ability, and of course, just like the physical effects as well. Like it's going to be a little harder to build muscle. You're going to put on weight unintentionally. So things like that. If you transition to a diet with mostly whole foods, meaning single ingredient foods or things that have minimal amounts of added sugar, added sodium, these things, and things that have nutrient density with the essential nutrients that we need that we don't produce, that contrast is going to be major. So your physical health is going to be a lot better. How you look and how you feel is really going to be impacted majorly, and of course that transitions into your mental health as well, because nutrition has a big impact on your cognitive state. So I'll give you one example. Omega-3 fatty acids are known to have a positive effect on heart health, but they can also help to promote the production of serotonin, which is responsible for basically like your mental clarity and your calmness, your stoicness, that kind of thing. So having that more in your diet will potentially help you to feel just more level-headed as well. So that's just an example of the many.
Got anything, Oliver?
Well, I think it, but just going back to something you were talking about in terms of growing up, I think it's really important for people to recognize that the lifestyle that is created, and I'm gonna use the word Yousef you used, it's really wrapped around convenience. And I love what you said in terms of, generally, if it's wrapped around convenience, that probably means that there are some things that were pre-made, and typically things that are processed and pre-made are going to be chock full of things that are actually detrimental to us. And so and I know we'll get to this, but man, there's some intentionality that really now comes into play as it relates to not putting yourself in a position to always succumb to that level of convenience, right? And sometimes that's difficult, right? Because sometimes the quickest thing you can do is go through the drive-through.
Exactly.
or grab something from, from the bodega or whatever, right? So I love that you said that, because that's a realization that people need to come to,
Yeah.
right? Because often we're thinking convenience. We're like, okay, I'm saving time. It's sometimes a little bit less money as well. And so we're looking at this through the wrong lens.
Yeah.
We're not looking at this through the lens of, what is this doing to my body? How is this affecting my mental health? How is this affecting my physical health? We're looking at it, oh, I saved an hour of having to be in the kitchen.
Right.
And you're going to pay for that hour down the road anyway. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing that to light. And hopefully for those that are listening or listening to the watching or watching the replay, really start to look at that. Like, is your level of convenience worth the price of admission?
And to be able to piggyback on that and just understand that what that means is you're not going to see the cost right away.
Right.
You're not going to, the things that nutrition does is that it sustains and it builds and it sustains and it builds, and it just keeps it's sustainability. And what happens is, if we eat foods that don't sustain, it don't rebuild. And if it doesn't sustain or rebuild, it's breaking down and destroying. I mean, we're made up of tissues, of cells, that if they are not nurtured, they're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And the real facts is that we're made up of all of these cells that requires nutrition. And we can't substitute nutrition. There is no substitute for nutrition. Now, there's supplements, and many of us, like myself, use supplements, but they are to supplement nutrition.
Exactly.
They're to supplement nutrition. You can't, just because you're putting food in your body, and I've heard some people even say that the stuff that we're putting in our bodies is not necessarily even should be considered food. It's something that's been processed that we have allowed ourselves to accept as something to suit the moment because it's convenient. But it's really not food, because food nurtures it's nutrition.
Yeah.
And this stuff isn't.
Right.
And we need to really understand the very nature of what we're doing is we're literally killing ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Gradually. Very gradually.
We are, here we go. Here's to put it into a real more visualization of it. We are progressively killing ourselves.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about that too, man, is that, like you said, Juan, you don't see the cost right away, but it's like these mortgages that have balloon payments. Right? You don't see it, but then, man, when that thing hits, it hits.
Mm.
And when you start getting sick and your body starts breaking down and starts deteriorating, like it hits heavy when it hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you may not see that happening up until the time, but then boom, all of a sudden you got all these doctor's appointments and you got to take all this medication, which is a whole nother story, right? So yeah, I applaud Yousef also that you took the initiative to do that
as a child, as a teenager.
That's not a story you often hear, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have a son. He'll be 22 in a few days, and man, we're all chasing him in terms of just him being in shape and that kind of thing. But he also is a cinnamon toast crunch guy, and it's I love the fact that you were just like, you know what, hold on, let me try to figure this thing out. you know, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And for that sake, for what you just said, Oliver, goes into metabolism.
Mm-hmm. True.
Again, that's again another one of these nutrition words or dietitian words, and metabolic, how your body processes stuff.
Yeah.
At 22 is different than 45 and 55.
You better believe it.
And unfortunately, the reason why it's different at 25 than it is at 45 is because you don't pay attention at 25.
Mm-hmm.
And that metabolism kicks in and it slows everything down. And the same degree of energy that you used to have to break down that processed food is not there anymore. So now it's not being broken down, it's being absorbed. So, not to say that I'm not anything, but I have been doing this. I've been working this thing for a few years recently because I've had to do some processing. I had to do some thinking and learning and figure out some things over the last few years because I've had some challenges, and they have been linked to, in many cases, diet.
Let me throw this question out there, and you can save this if you have some other stuff ahead of this. But I know, you know, if I read the minds of the folk who are listening or might be watching the replay, the question always becomes now, what can I have? What can I eat? What should I be what should I be picking up when I go to the grocery store? What should I be walking swiftly past when I'm in the grocery store as it relates to, because you use the term one single ingredient foods. Yeah. So for those who might be like, okay, I hear you, sugar, cereal, soda. Okay, what Yousef, what can I eat? what should we be grabbing off the shelves?
Yeah, and that's a really important sentiment too, because I think because of just the general lack of nutrition resources and education that are readily available for people, like you really have to seek this stuff out. Because of that, I think there's a misconception that in order to eat healthy, you have to finance your grocery trip, but that's not necessarily the case. You know, nutrition literacy also involves food literacy as well, and knowing how to shop smart and also cook smart as well. So there's a lot of foods to include. There's thousands and thousands of different kinds of foods that you can incorporate to create a balanced diet overall. Now, that's another really important term here that I'm sure everyone has heard at some point is balance and moderation, right? And what that really means, to me at least, is prioritizing the nutrient dense foods, like the single ingredient foods, whole foods first, having that, making sure you're getting that, you know, for the week, so you get your essential nutrients, and here and there, occasionally having maybe a treat or a snack, or going out to eat, or having fast food, whatever the case may be. That's completely fine to incorporate if it's something you enjoy, but it has to be in combination with a balance of all other foods. Like your diet overall should just be like a big web of many different things. Okay. Some have priority and then some don't. So regarding your question, like what can I eat? What do I look for? I think just a good way to think about it is fulfilling the basic components of what a diet should be. So I think a good resource could be like the food pyramid, for example, or like the My Plate on USDA website. So really, those just have the foods that you should be having in your diet consistently. So fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and that could be animal proteins or it can be vegetarian, depending on whatever diet you eat. Um, Lean proteins, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and then fats, of course, healthy fats, because your body does need fats. Um, so basically, things like produce, get as much produce as you can and as you enjoy, like any of that you can. It's always great to include. Um, Dairy, if you drink dairy, to get your calcium. Your lean proteins, your whole grains for fiber, beans, lentils, those kind of things. What you should be maybe looking past or trying to substitute are the the foods with a lot of added sugar, or just added sugar in general, as a general thing. So any drinks with high sugar content, any candies or protein bars or foods with a lot of sugar content, those you can generally go without, or there is some kind of substitution for it. So this may be an unpopular thing amongst the nutrition community. I don't know, but soda, for example, I think a better alternative would be diet soda. Honestly, now I know there is a thing with artificial sweeteners, and of course, don't have a bunch of them, but they're only harmful at a certain rate if you're having like 10 cans of soda a day. But I bring that up basically just to say that you should be limiting or trying to limit added sugar as much as possible, because that probably amongst everything that exists, in our grocery stores, that is probably the number one contributor to many of the metabolic conditions that we see. Diabetes, high cholesterol, hypertension. Added sugar in our diet, because it's so high and it's in so many foods, is probably the number one contributor to a lot of health issues that we see. So that's the main thing you should be looking out for and trying to limit.
It's interesting, man. Literally just today before this recording, I picked up some pancake syrup, because I like, every once in a while I like to have these little waffles, right? So I pick up the pancake syrup, and because I'm very conscious of this now, right? And so my wife got this sugar-free syrup that she really loves, and it's okay for me, right? So I'm still kind of reaching for the real stuff here and there. So I reached for it today, and I was like, you know what? Let me just flip this thing over real quick. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can't keep doing this. I was like, we can't keep doing this, bro. Like, we're going to have to find an alternative, because that bad boy is a bottle of sugar. I was like, no, we can't keep doing that.
And that's exactly the reality that I think many of us haven't intentionally addressed. We don't. I took a course over the summer, and it was just talking about reading the label. Do you know how intentional you have to be to read the label?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll pick it up and put it in the can. I mean, and it's amazing. Here's what happened to me today. I'll give you an example. And this is the difference between a person who's conscious and a person who's not. I was making some pork chops, and my wife called me and told me, she says, I'm stopping by the grocery store. Is anything you want? And I said, give me some shake and bake. I was going to make me some pork chops, some shake and bake pork chops. And she came back to me. She says, should I be considering salt?
Mm-hmm.
That's all she said. She said, should I be considering salt?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Don't pick it up. Now, if she hadn't have said that, and she would have just taken and just did what I said, but it was her. That's the difference of a mindset.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't, she made me consider something that I wasn't considering.
Yeah.
And she says, am I considering salt? Now she knows that I'm dealing with hypertension,
Mhm.
various other illnesses and things that salt is in, that is affects it. And she says, should I be considering the salt content?
And here's what's interesting about that. And Yousef, if you could speak to this, the thing with the labels too, right, is we don't pay attention to serving size. So like you talk about shake and bake, right? So the numbers that are on that package only apply to 1/8 of the packet.
Yeah.
And we use the entire thing when we're cooking. So now you're talking about multiplying those numbers by like 6, which is insane when you think about it. You know, so just kind of, you know, for those who this may be their first time even thinking about serving size, like speak about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad you guys brought that up because that's not even something I thought about. I think it's just because I'm used to looking at labels like instinctively when I get foods, but as you said, that's not a common thing because we're never taught to do that at any point in our lives, right? Like the back of the package is an afterthought. All that matters is what it says on the front, and that's it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The serving size is so important. Like not just looking at the label and seeing what the nutrients are, but looking specifically what that is actually for. So I think the cinnamon toast crunch, going back to that, is a really good example here because if you look at a label, you'll see I think it's like, I'm spitballing, but I think it's like 200 something calories. You go to the sugar, it's around 14, 15 grams of added sugar, right? But that's for 3/4 of a cup or a cup, maybe at the most. But who's having a cup of cereal? It's definitely more than that. It's at least 2 to 3 cups of that.
Mm-hmm.
So in a breakfast cereal that you're supposed to be starting your day with, you're having 35, 40 grams of sugar right there. And that's more than the recommended limit for adults, mind you. And children are having this.
Right.
So yeah, it is so very important to consider that when you're buying these kinds of foods, because you got to think about yourself. That's something you really got to be mindful about, is how much am I going to eat of this? Like realistically, how much do I plan on eating? About how much do I usually? Because that's what matters at the end of the day. So just being mindful of what your portions usually look like, what your hunger is, and maybe looking for something that is a better alternative if you're having foods that are, high in undesirable nutrients per serving. Like that's definitely something to be mindful of. And, again, great point in bringing that up, because that's really important when you're shopping, especially.
Look, it is as simple as a bag, going walking through this grocery store and picking up one of those bags of potato chips right there at the cash register.
Mm-hmm.
That is for 3.5 servings.
Mm-hmm.
One bag that costs you $1.50, $2 now, $2. That little bag, it's 3.5 servings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 400 calories per serving.
Yep.
So you eat that whole bag, which you're gonna eat that whole bag.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna eat that whole bag. You've just ate your calories for the entire day in that bag. 3 times 400. I mean, that's 1,500 calories if you eat that whole bag.
Yeah.
And that's just, those are just the little simple things that, why would you even put something on the label, you've got to not only read the label, but you've got to understand the label.
Got to understand it. Yeah.
You've got to understand it. So let me ask you a question. Where are some of the places that we should be shopping to get the kind of stuff that we really need that benefits us into living a healthier life?
Well, this is a tough question, only because it's really hard to generalize, because there are food deserts that exist for a lot of people, where the closest grocery store isn't for a couple miles or 5 miles, right? I'm lucky enough, and maybe you guys are too, where you have a grocery store with fresh produce and affordable whole foods and all that within a reasonable distance, but a lot of people don't. So I think, depending on where you are, what your environment is, what matters is trying to find somewhere that's convenient for you, that offers those whole foods, within the plate that we talked about, like the foods that you should be looking for, a place that offers those at a reasonable price, or at least a price that fits whatever your food budget is. Like, if you can find a whole store that's a grocery store, a proper grocery store, that would be ideal. But I do know a lot of people may do their shopping at like a deli or a bodega or something, depending on where they are. So honestly, just depends on what's near you, and prioritizing those foods, again, like prioritizing the whole foods when you go shopping for yourself, and like for the week or for the next couple of weeks, whatever the case may be. That's what really matters.
Let me ask you this. If vegetables, because here's the thing I've learned, and I've seen it while I go. You go to the grocery store, the healthier foods that's in the grocery store are on the outside of the store. Outside of the store. Okay, and those are where the fresh foods are and the meats are along the outsides of the store. If you can't shop on the outside aisle, is frozen the next best thing?
Yes.
As it relates to vegetables. Now, I'm talking about, you can get frozen vegetables. Maybe you're not able to get the fresh ones, but you can get frozen ones. What's the difference between, or is that a reasonable choice if fresh is unavailable?
100%, 100,000%. Frozen produce is something I always recommend, especially for people on a more limited budget. Frozen produce is typically a little cheaper than fresh. It's, of course, more convenient because it's already cut and pre-made, like broccoli, for example. It's already cut in the bag. You don't have to do anything. And the best part is the nutritional value is not different. It's the same whether it's fresh or frozen. The only difference, of course, is the processing method, the freezing versus the fresh delivery, whatever.
Right. So
yeah.
So that's a option for those that, because maybe if the bodega or the 7-Eleven or you maybe don't have fresh vegetables, but they do have frozen ones. And so you can pick up those frozen vegetables, because again, the priority is to get the vegetable. Now, granted, it's going to be probably right beside some,
some
fried chicken or some ice cream that's frozen in the doggone thing that you can microwave, something like that. But it really is going about understanding the choice, is that choice of that frozen vegetable is likened to that outside aisle where those fresh vegetables are, and it's a choice. So now it becomes more practical as it relates to economical, to find those things that are similar but not the same.
Yeah, exactly. And that really goes into the whole food literacy thing that I mentioned before, is having the understanding of what your options are. So when fresh is not available, or maybe it's really expensive, frozen is also a great option, and it's convenient too, and of course it stores a lot longer. So absolutely, that's a great option. And with the price, I do want to point out one thing, and this applies to Whole Foods in general. A bag of spinach, let's say a bag of frozen spinach, is likely going to be more expensive than maybe a bag of chips, right? But, or let me rephrase that. A couple bags of vegetables is going to be more expensive than like one of those ready-made frozen meals. But you're ultimately saving money in the long run because those vegetables can be incorporated into several dishes throughout the week. Meanwhile, you're getting the frozen pre-made meal is one meal and probably not even satisfying at that. So you are saving money in the long run, and that's also another really important consideration as well. As how are you going to stretch your budget and stretch the food that you get for as long as you can? Be efficient with it.
Yeah, that's good too, because that frozen dinner probably got 700 milligrams of sodium in it too.
Absolutely, at least.
Which is crazy. Crazy talk. I got a question for you. I know we're coming up on time, but man, this is kind of a step on toes question. And for those that are listening, I'm stepping on my own toes with this. So just if your feet just happen to be in the way, then this is for you too. But talk a little bit about this. There is a self-control component to this that we don't often bring up, right? And I'll use myself as an example. So I made some curry chicken, and the other day I had I took a smaller plate, much smaller plate, and I put a little tiny bit of rice. I put some broccoli and some curry chicken on that plate, small plate. I ate that plate and it was really good. And I was like, man, I want some more. And I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go back, because what I'll end up doing is eating the same amount I would have eaten if I had gotten a regular dinner plate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I got to discipline myself to be like, this was good. Just chalk it up as being good and go about the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so kind of speak to that, because I think for a lot of us, that's a major hurdle.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of components and factors that go into self-control. So with eating specifically, I think this kind of ties into the whole convenience thing, but I know a lot of people, and this includes me, sometimes even now, who eat very quickly. Like there's not a lot of time spent on each bite. It's kind of just one after the other, after the other, after the other. And when you eat like that, it's a lot easier to eat more than you probably should, to eat beyond your capacity. And that's because there's a little delay between the signal of hunger and the food actually going down. So the key to that is really being mindful about how you're eating, and when you do eat is just like slow down, take a second with each bite, make sure to finish it, and then take your next bite. And I find that eating slower allows you to actually feel the fullness potentially even quicker after that first serving, because you're allowing your body time to actually take the food in and send a signal to your brain that, oh, I'm eating, I'm getting full. So you need some time there. You need to allow some time. And I think slowing your eating, being mindful about how you're chewing the food will really help you to just notice the fullness and be mindful of that, like while you're eating it, instead of getting through multiple plates or multiple servings and then all of a sudden it hits you, you're like, wow, I am stuffed.
Yeah.
And that's important too, is eating till you're satisfied, but not eating until you're really full. Like, you shouldn't be uncomfortable after a meal. You should just be satisfied, content. Like, okay, I just ate a meal. I'm good. That's it.
And unfortunately, we eat every day like it's Thanksgiving. And you know what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what that means.
Exactly.
Soon as you eat, you unconscious. You unconscious. And what I've learned, it's a combination of what you've eaten and how much you've eaten that makes you comatose after you're eating.
Yep. You're right.
And it's amazing how it doesn't matter. It ain't got to be. It's not about Thanksgiving. And if people just stop and look at themselves, and really, like you said, be self-aware of what they're doing and what happens to them while after they eat. You know, it ain't like it's amazing how people talk about that. There's not a lot of work get done after lunch. There's a reason. Because they are comatose after lunch. And that's something that we don't recognize. You've accepted as normal. We've accepted as normal. And so I'm going to tell you another thing that's really, really has helped me. And that is eating no later than 8 p.m. Ideally 6 p.m., but no later than 8 p.m. Because again, those things that we were talking about, how your body processes food, your body needs to process food before it goes to sleep. And if it doesn't, it's going to impact your sleep because your body is still going to be trying to process that food.
Yeah, exactly.
And that affects how you go, your ability to go to sleep, your ability to have a peaceful night's sleep, where I've struggled in many areas. I mean, it is amazing how this stuff works. This body that we have there, it is absolutely amazing how it works. And it's a system to it.
Yeah.
And the knowledge that you've been sharing with us is from, these are things. Where do you think we should be able to go to be able to get more information, more knowledge about this?
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, any search and like Google, honestly, is fine. What matters when you search stuff up is making sure that you're going to reputable sources, because there are thousands and thousands of blogs written about nutrition from people who aren't really credentialed or certified. So you need to ideally look for, a research study. A lot of people don't want to read research studies, and that's okay. At least find maybe an article written on a health website with sources that are cited. That's what matters. If you can find cited sources that lead to some kind of research study, then that's perfectly fine as well, because it's more digestible for the average person. No one wants to go through a whole 10-page research study. That's okay. I don't even want to do that. So it's just about choosing the right sources when you look on Google or Bing or whatever you decide to use.
Well, let me say this. Is there any way, do you have, can people reach out to you as it relates to your services and how if they need help or have further questions about nutrition?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm available on social media, Yousef at Yousef123. My company, Food Smart, is also growing, expanding. They're always accepting people. So it's a really easy website to navigate. You just go to foodsmart.com and you put in whatever insurance you have. They take most insurances, and then you'll probably be able to book a free appointment, and they're covered with most insurances. So it's very easy, and there are hundreds of credentialed dietitians that work with Food Smart that are all very knowledgeable, very good at what they do. So highly recommend that as well.
Okay. All righty. Is there anything you would like to share in conclusion as it relates to one thing that you would like the audience to know, the community to know, as a way of being able to help improve their health today?
Yeah, I think a big general takeaway to say just about health and nutrition is that um, eating healthy does not have to be a chore. It can be something you enjoy. You can still eat the foods you enjoy. You just have to be mindful about where that food is coming from and what's in it. And of course, reading the label, as we have talked about many times throughout this. So, um, just thinking about that and thinking about your body as a uh, a piece, an investment tool, right? Like investing into your body with the proper food and thinking about long term and just remembering that, you know, as I said, eating healthy does not have to feel like an obligation. It can be you can have a healthy lifestyle and still enjoy eating food as well. They can coexist. So I think that's really important.
Okay. All righty. All righty then. Well, thank you, Yousef, for being with us tonight. I really appreciate the information that you shared with us, and hopefully, what was the organization that you said that they could look up for? Was Eat Smart? What was it?
Food smart.
Foodsmart.com.
Yeah, one word. Yeah, food.
One word. And they can reach out to them or you to get more information about eating healthier and um, really beginning to think consciously about our health and nutrition.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you very much.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thank you both for having me here. It was great having this conversation, very important conversation, and you know, you two have been gracious, so I really appreciate your time.
All righty. Okay, thanks a lot. We're going to send you back, and don't go nowhere because we want to thank you again for being with us. So we appreciate you. Thanks a lot.
Of course. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. And this is, we don't have any excuse, right? When you meet people like Yousef and you get information like the information he's provided, it really now just boils down to, are we actually going to be willing to execute or not? You know, are we going to, like Yousef said, are we going to look at our bodies as an investment? He used the vehicle analogy earlier, which I really loved, right? Are we going to look at ourselves that way? And are we going to hear this, be under this teaching, and then still turn around and sit at the seat of convenience? Or are we going to actually make a conscious, intentional effort and decision that we're going to do something different?
It again reiterates the attitude that's required and necessary that we talked about when we started: discipline and sacrifice.
Yep.
If we're going to implement the attitudes to understand and then implement the information that we've heard, it's going to require us to be disciplined and be willing to sacrifice. And sacrifice is for the purpose of something greater in the future. Willing to sacrifice something now for something beneficial in the future.
Yeah.
And your health, your longevity is that benefit that goes into the future. So you're absolutely right. It's on us.
It's on us.
Oliver, let people know where they can reach you or contact you to reach you.
Absolutely. If you're a social media person, the social media handle is right there. We are on most platforms at Denali LLC. For those of you who this might be your first time being introduced to me, I am an author, speaker, and coach in the relationship building and men's enrichment spaces. Just passionate about seeing relationships thrive and seeing men win in every area of their lives. And so you can reach me at the social media at Denali LLC, or if you're an email person, you can email me at the email that is on your screen right now. Author of the book Overcoming the Man Laws, for the man who wants to be his best despite what he was taught. And so if you are interested in relationship building on any level, whether it be personal or professional, or you are a man who is looking to win in every area of his life, let's have a conversation.
All righty. Again, those are Oliver is again one of our affiliates, and not affiliates, but a partner. And so when you support him, you support us. We really appreciate him. And for all that are here listening, by all means, you can find more information about what Clear Journey does by going to clearjourney.org and looking around and seeing if there's something. We are going to be doing a lot of things this year. So hopefully you will see them being available on our website. And by all means, always be able to see our content on our YouTube channel. And so we are excited about you being here. If you have not registered or have not joined our community, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can go over to our website and register over there and be a part of. We're sending out our quarterly newsletters so that we will get that and you can stay in touch with us. But we're here to help you navigate life more successfully. And so as usual, and always when we close, Clear Journey is not about changing your life, but we're here to help you navigate it a little bit clearer. We can't change it, but we can make it a little bit clearer for you, a little bit more simpler to navigate. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.